Hi, everybody. Welcome to Through the Looking Glass with Martha. This is Martha Davis Alexander, and this is the Going Solo Network, the #1 singles podcast ever. This is Through the Looking Glass with Martha, and I am so excited tonight, you guys. I have a very, very special guest with me tonight. She was with me through the Certified Fearless Living training. She was one of my power partners, and she has an amazing program going on that I absolutely love. So I really begged her to come and share with me. So I'd like to introduce my very special guest, my sister, Mallory McGary. Mallory!
Hi.
Mallory is, I'm going to read your thing, Mallory.
Okay, go right
She's
ahead.
a mama, she's a wife, and the founder and CEO of Beautifully Blooming, which I love that name. She supports moms who have gotten lost in the title of motherhood, find their identity. She helps them find their identity as a woman and a mom without guilt. Mallory is brilliant. This is just so brilliant. I love this. Mallory focuses on changing the mindsets of moms, from the mama guilt to the mama empowerment. I love that. She encourages moms to show up exactly as they are, discover their passions, and experience freedom, happiness, and more fulfillment in being the woman that they want to be. So if you're a mom, you're no longer going to feel this guilt of choosing to take care of themselves. You can take care of yourselves, and that helps you take care of them better. And Mallory is phenomenal at this. She has 2 little humans that are just so adorable and amazing. And Mallory is an amazing mom. Welcome to the show, Mallory.
Thank you. It's so good to be here. Hello, everybody on the interwebs. I'm just Martha. Can I jump in?
Please go ahead.
Because I'm super excited. I'm really passionate about what I do. Like Martha said, I'm going to kind of bum off of that for a second before I hop into my all-time favorite topic that's been hot on my list for the last couple months. But as a mom, like Martha said, I have 2 tiny humans. One is 2 and the other is 3 months. So I am also working 9 to 5. I work a 9 to 5. I am a coach and a course creator at night, and mom and a wife. I do everything and anything that I possibly can get my hands in. So this is something that finding my identity as a mom and coming through that through creation of my course is pretty much the way that I came through my own journey. So I have found my mom identity, is what I call it, because I am still a mom, but I do have my own identity. And I'm excited and want to share it with the world. So if you're interested, I know Martha has the links below. So check those out in the show notes.
Connect with Mallory at www.beautifullyblooming.com.
Yep. And all the information is there. So if you want to check it out, dig in.
And I just have to say, it seems like Mallory is perfect. She is very approachable. Just because it's December 2nd and her house is flipping decorated for Christmas and she has tiny humans and works a full-time job, don't worry about it. She doesn't sleep. You don't have to be her to do that. It's okay.
You don't. If you saw the other side of my screen right here, I actually have turned my computer screen because I have toys scattered all back over in this area behind my Christmas tree.
That's the mama part.
That's the mom part. I also have like dirty dishes in my sink from this morning. So there's my reality. I only clean toys once a day because I don't got time to do that. So I also have a mess in our playroom. So there's the realness of my life.
Yeah. So Mallory, fear has a voice, not a vote.
Yes.
What do you mean? Tell us what that is.
So I am a huge John Acuff fan, and I have been listening to his podcast since he released it. It's brand new, like in January-ish, I believe, like once COVID started. And either him or his guest, I'm not sure who had it, but they said fear has a voice, not a vote. And it hit me really hard like we have all these things going on in our mind. So we're going to kind of regress a little bit because I do have tiny humans, and this is the best way for me to relate it, is the movie Inside Out. If you've seen it, you have all of the emotions running this dashboard, right, of your brain. And so when I think about it, I'm like, oh, I have this decision to make, and every one of those like pops up and is like, you have Joy over there going, it's the best thing in the world, you should do it, I'm totally into it. And you have anger telling you like this is not a thing, or you're going to get really frustrated and get mad, so is it worth it? And then you have like disgust, saying like all these people are going to judge you on this choice, or somebody's going to say something and have an opinion, so why are you going to do it? And sadness is like, well, you can't, it's going to like lead you down kind of a path because you're going to have to let out some emotions. So do you really want to let out those emotions? And then it comes to fear standing in the background, like, I'm just going to tell you like all these things, how you don't want to do that. It's not a thing for you. And so I pictured that going on in my mind as I was
chaos in my mind.
The math, everybody trying to talk over each other, and how often that everybody else will agree on it and be like, this is great, and you're going to go through this, but it's fine. And then fear's like, somebody might say something and you may not like it, so let's not. And you're like, cool, I'm picking that one.
Yeah.
Instead of listening to the encouragement that you have. And so in full transparency, starting my business was one of those. I've kind of reflected on that as I was going through this process and thinking, well, I listened to every voice said something, and fear was there telling me, don't do it. Don't do it. Like, you're going to fail. It's never going to work. It's not going to be this. And I listened to it for so long. I let it sit I had a small business. I let it die after about a year, didn't touch it, just kind of like let it go. Wasn't feeling like it was my calling, but was also afraid to continue putting it out there. And so kind of like, and then it resurfaced and was like, here's your opportunity. And instead of listening to it, because all the same fears came up of, well, you're going to have to post things about it. You're going to have to talk about it. How do you feel about that? You're not going to like it. It's all these things. And I said, thank you for that voice, but you don't get to choose anymore. I'm going to listen to the encouragement side of it.
I love that.
So it helped funnel a lot more of me transitioning into this person that I am, and not feeling guilty as being a working mom, an entrepreneurial mom, and just a mom in general.
Yeah. So, I love the view of all those voices in my head, because I do hear all of them, right? I get all those emotions. I was trained to stuff those emotions down and not listen to them. So it was really since you and I have been working together in Fearless Living, right, that I started to really look at emotions. I find that fear does the same thing, and I do it with the car, right? So I want to put my foot on the gas, and fear slides my foot over to the brake, and I don't go anywhere. And I'm like, come on. I didn't even realize my foot was on the brake. I thought I was on the gas.
Right. Or like you're pushing both at the same time.
Yeah. Doesn't go anywhere.
And you still don't go anywhere.
Yeah.
But like with that, it's that kind of the same thing of, and I strongly had to get over the fear of putting it out there into the world, because you feel like it's kind of newborn baby, sometimes new ideas. You're like, oh, this is great, and I'm sending my baby to the babysitter. Like, love it as much as I do. Love this as much as I do. And it makes you afraid, and your fear just keeps saying, somebody's not going to like, you're going to have a bunch of opinions. You're going to have a hater, all these things. And in all honesty, nope. I've put it out there, and I was scared to put it out there, and nobody has said one bad thing to me.
It's a brilliant. So let's share with our audience.
Okay.
Right, what it is, because it really is brilliant.
About my course?
Yeah. Share. It really is brilliant.
All right. Well, it is based on my own experience and kind of going through like the Fearless Living program. And then prior to that, I'm going to kind of back into this a little bit with my own story.
Okay.
I've been working at the same 9 to 5 for 11 years. So about 5 years ago, I just was getting ready one day in the morning and I just was like nitpicking at everything. Like, oh, you probably should choose this color of eyeshadow because this is better for you. Or like dye your hair like this or cut your hair like this. And just those nitpicking things that you see on social media of like, oh, well, they've got like 4 cars. Maybe I need to buy 4 cars or whatever that looks like in your area type thing. And I got like just halted myself. And I don't know where the halt came from because that I'm just putting in the universe just stopped me and was like, if I feel this way, a ton of other people have to feel this way. So let's kind of start there. So then I started my mind, like shifting my mindset and doing mindset work in that. And then I found out that I'm an unexplained IVF human. So both of my kids are IVF babies. And that takes a whole different emotional and mental toll.
Yes, it does.
For anyone. I mean, pregnancy and trying to have a family in the first place does take a toll on a lot of people. And then add an extra step of, we don't know why you can't get pregnant. So here, just like inject your body and we'll see, like, here's all these things and we'll see what comes of it.
I don't know that you and I have talked about that, but I went through a similar journey. I just never got pregnant. So,
oh, there you go.
We adopted all of ours, but I had a very similar, right? So we'll have to talk about that sometime. But
we will have to touch on that. But I mean, I know it's more common now. But also a lot of people don't like to share their story because it is a very personal journey. I am one that's a very open book about my journey because I think it's not a taboo topic. It shouldn't be a taboo topic.
I agree.
Because it happens more frequently now than
it did 20 years ago when I did it.
Years ago, and it's only
25 years ago.
Yeah, right. And it's only going to get different more.
Yeah.
Probably. So I got through that and worked on my mindset, and then I got pregnant and was like super excited and everything off of my first transfer. And 10 weeks later, I miscarried, and
baby,
it's sad and it's heartbreaking, and I never wish that on anybody. But it also was such a beautiful experience for me. And everybody takes it differently. And that's something that is a very personal thing as well. But it made me stop and think, if I'm going to do all of this all over again, I'm going to really create this space that makes me want to be the mom I want to be. And when the tiny human comes into the world, then we're on a growing path together. But I've at least built my foundation. And so then about 3 months later, I got another transfer, and my little dude is here. He came, and as he was being birthed into the world, I was being reborn as not only a mom, but in the mindset that I'm still mom, and it's okay for me to be mom, and that's fine. But I also can't lose who I am because I put in all this legwork before I lose myself.
And women do that. We do that so frequently. We get married, we get divorced, whatever it is we do in life, we tend to then morph ourselves into what we need to be. I love that you did that, Mallory. That is such a strong, courageous thing to do.
It wasn't easy, I'll be honest, because it's always hard to flip that mindset of like, okay, I can still be a wife and me, and I can still be a daughter and me. Like, I can still be all of these roles I play, but I can still be this human that I want to be and the person that I am aspiring to be. And it's not bad for me to be that person.
It's phenomenal for you to be that person. We all want to be who we are and stand in that power and teach our tiny humans as they grow up to be that for themselves as well. our world would be so much better off if we all had that ability to work on our mindset. So I love that you teach that.
And with it being like with my kids and everything, like I don't want it to be something that it's, oh, well, mom doesn't have goals. Mom doesn't have dreams anymore. Like she doesn't know what she wants to be. She just drives carpool and makes cookies. I don't know. I mean, I do that, but I also do more. And I think that's where women sometimes get lost in, oh, now I'm mom. I've got to be the PTA, be a part of PTA and do other community outreach programs, plus be like the extracurricular mom that takes all the kids everywhere in the neighborhood.
Cub Scout leader.
and doing all of those things. And then by the time you sit down and you meet somebody new and they're like, oh, what do you like to do? You just look at them with a glazed over look like, stuff.
Oh my gosh, Mallory. Can I tell you a really quickly funny story about that?
Please do. Please do.
Had 3 little kids, right? And I got a jury notice. So I had to go to jury duty. Recovering attorney, went to jury duty, always wanted to be on a trial. It was a 3-week trial. I was so excited. I was so excited. And I think it was the prosecuting attorney asked me when she was giving me the voir dire when I was in the jury box. She's like, so what are your hobbies? And I just told her I had 3 kids all under the age of 4. Right? Just said that. And the judge laughed and said, yeah, Mrs. Alexander, you don't have to answer that. Obviously, she doesn't have kids. So he said to her, whatever her name was, yeah, she has 3 small children. She doesn't have hobbies.
She doesn't have them anymore.
She doesn't have that. She is a mom, right?
Right.
And that's exactly, I was like, hobbies? What are you talking about?
It's kind of like when you look at say something to your kids and you're like, did you even hear anything that I just said? Because you get that glazed over look like, I don't know what words you just spoke.
Yeah.
To me. Because it is all blank right here. You wanted some? Nope. There's nothing there. And I don't think that going through watching some of my friends do motherhood, I got married later than a lot of my friends.
Yeah.
So I got married at 28. So all of my friends were on kid 2 or 3 before I even got married. And watching them go through it, it was kind of like, hey, let's go to dinner. Not too far from like, you have to eat, I have to eat. Let's just do it together.
It's not going to happen.
No. It was like, I'm sorry, I can't. It was like, but why? I didn't understand because I wasn't in there. And now that I'm there, I know. But I made it like in my brain, I made that point of, I can't let that be me because that's part of how I function. That's part of what keeps my cup full and fills my soul is to just go have dinner or dessert or drinks or coffee or whatever it is, just to connect with my mom friends, right? Of your kids at school, my kid's taking a nap, come over, let's have a quesadilla. Nothing out of control, but that's how I, as a human, have to function. And so part of my course also talks about how you yourself function and how you take care of yourself. That's my form of self-care, is saying, okay, I can step out of here and I'm going to go be with my adult friends without our kids, and we're going to have dinner or dessert, and it's probably going to be a 2-3 hour thing, and it's going to be fine because it fills my cup up. Yeah. But for somebody else, it could be, I'm going to take an hour and a half bath and just read or watch a show in my tub.
Oh my gosh, you mean go into your own bathroom and be alone?
Right. Like that. Yeah.
That doesn't happen. For those of you who don't have kids, it doesn't happen when your kids are little. And now it doesn't happen with my dogs. So whatever.
Even if your door's locked, it doesn't. Somehow they wizard their way in.
Yes.
Wizard their way in.
They do. That cord is very strong.
I'm not going to say that there have not been times I've been sneaking my own snacks in my pantry with the door closed because I wanted like that chocolate bar to myself and not have to share with a human. I know.
Yes.
I know.
Yes.
But he finds me. It's the worst.
I know. We hide things in our room that we don't want to share.
Right. And they still find it.
We still do. And they're 20 and 18. Of course, now they know. So.
But they find it. If they're like, ooh, that sounds good, I'm just going to reach in mom's closet.
It sounds good. You know, got to know where mom is at all times.
Yeah. And it's great. But like my course also covers self-care because that's a thing.
I love that.
Huge thing. And then we talk about fear because like fear is the main blocking point for a lot of things. What roadblocks do you have? Do you want to start a business? Do you not want to start a business? Do you maybe want to be like a teacher of a sort, maybe go into a career path?
Yeah.
Or maybe you just want to be able to find that time that I can hang out with my mom friends or my friends and not feel weird of leaving my kids.
Yeah, it's interesting because sometimes fear blocks even your ability to dream and know what you want, right?
For sure. Of even like putting a vision board together. You no longer have to dream small of like, oh, we're just going to have like this kind of car. Maybe your dream car could be a Tesla. If it is, great. Whatever that is, and it seems out of reach, but dream bigger. Like,
yeah.
Fear wants to keep you in this box of that like fence is perfect where we're in. Oh, you want to try something new? It's not going to work out. So let's stay within this fence.
Let's stay safe.
Right. Let's stay safe rather than, hey, I'm dreaming. Like on my vision board, I have Bora Bora on my vision board. I really want to go there. I really want to experience it. So it's on there. If it happens in 10 years, it happens, but it's on there. It's not asinine for me to dream that.
No, it's not. We're going to talk about your vision board when we come back from our break, but we are going to take a brief break. Do not miss the second half of this show because we're going to go into more details. Again, this is Mallory McGary with Beautifully Blooming. It's beautifullyblooming.com. She has a mom identity course right now that's just launching, and it's so exciting. I love this course. And this is Martha Davis Alexander. My information is marthadalexander@gmail.com. You can reach me at throughtheLookingGlassWithMartha.com or at 805-422-6865. And we will be right back after these brief messages. Dance with us with the music.
I want the tunes.
They're going to be cool tunes when we get in.
They should be. Now I'm looking for. There we go. Ooh, that's a fancy tree. I kind of want that. You can tell I'm a mom.
Oh my goodness, I love the commercial break. I love it, love it, love it. Welcome back. Hope you were dancing with us and watching those phenomenal commercials. Again, I'm Martha Davis Alexander, and this is Through the Looking Glass with Martha, and we have a phenomenal guest today, Mallory McGary. Mallory is the founder and CEO of Beautifully Blooming. We've been talking about her class, her course, Momdentity. And we're talking about fear has a voice and not a vote. Means don't let fear control your decisions. It's going to tell you its opinion, but it doesn't have to run your life, huh, Mallory?
So true. So true.
So how do you stop fear? How do you say, okay, I hear you, and now go away?
You know, that it's a constant work in progress because there are certain things that I'm like, and I'll listen to it. Other times I'm like, nah, like that's not that big of a deal. So it is a work in progress. I'm not a perfect human. I'm an imperfect human. So I'm also working on it. But it all starts with your mindset, and having that healthy mindset and setting those boundaries in your own mind of what you're going to listen to and what you're not, and how it affects you.
I'm not sure I've ever heard you say setting those own boundaries in your own mind.
Yeah.
Tell me more about that.
So I'm very real. I'm very transparent. This whole thing has been very transparent. So I'm going to keep on my path of transparency.
Excellent.
There is the boundary of saying, I used to be very afraid. Backing into this a little bit. I am terrified actually to be in this spot. So
I know you are.
And this is I may not seem it on the outside. My insides are kind of like, oh, like I'm sweating. I got kind of cold chills, and my house is warm, but I've got like the chicken skin on. This is something that is a very step out of my comfort zone for.
And for our audience, this means being on this TV show.
Yes. Being in this space at this time with all of you is something that is very hard for me. But before Martha had asked me about it, she's told me about the show, told me about kind of what to expect and everything. And I kept listening to my little fear vote saying, no, that's something you do not like to do. And finally she asked me and said, I would really love to have you as a guest on my show. And I just set up the boundary of saying, I'm just going to do it because what's the worst that can happen? Nothing.
Nothing.
Nothing. There's nothing that can happen. And
I gotcha.
And I knew Martha would catch me and help lead me along this path. And so that was my boundary of I started to look at things and say, what's the worst that can happen? What's the worst that can happen of maybe going on a first date? You say no to the second.
Or you leave in the middle of it.
They're not, or you leave in the middle of it. I am guilty of doing both of those things. Or it's, do you say, like, what's the worst that can happen with putting an idea out there? You revamp it, you get feedback, and you revamp it and make it better. There's nothing terrible about that boundary. And so I set that boundary of what's the worst that can happen. And it started to lower that voice of fear and saying,
yeah,
you can do an Instagram live. You can do a TikTok. It's not terrible. And you just show up as you. You don't even have to be all done up. I mean, look at me. I'm in a Jurassic Park t-shirt.
I know. I like the t-shirt.
Thank you. I had to match my son. So
that's beautiful.
Right. He had his dinosaur shirt on, so I had to wear my dinosaur shirt.
That's fabulous. So what are other boundaries? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go right ahead.
What are other boundaries that you set in your mind that you keep that tells fear no?
I have set up a boundary of not listening to people's opinions. I'm not necessarily, I'm an empath, but not the full definition of an empath. I guess you would say, I don't know kind of where that is, but I kind of take on people's energies. And so and I have a really hard time compartmentalizing. I'm criticizing the choice versus I'm criticizing you as a person.
Oh.
And that, like, they've just meshed together in my mind of, if you're saying something that you don't like about me, you just don't like me as a human. If you don't like my idea, you just don't like me as a human. And so I had to set those boundaries of, if they don't want me, that's fine. I am who I am, and I'm okay with me as a person. That if they don't want that, that's up to them.
That's a beautiful boundary. I love that boundary, right? I absolutely love that. And everybody adores you. I don't know. Right? I mean, just know that everybody adores you.
You think about it, and then it's kind of the same mindset of I'm worried about what everybody else is thinking, but really everybody else is worrying about what I'm thinking about them, or everybody else is thinking about them. So nobody's really caring what is going on because they're all worried about what everybody's saying to themselves.
Fear is running a circus. Fear is running amok.
Yes, and it's everybody. And so I kind of that boundary is they can think that, but it's not changing my person. It's not it's not going to make me be unauthentically who I am as a person, because through this process of creating this course and going through it, I have stepped more into my authentic self and just let my freak flag fly.
I love that.
And let it be and been okay with it. And I've lost some people, and that's fine. It hurt my heart for a minute, but that was up to them. That's their choice. If they want to come back, great. If not, then you were there for a minute, the time I needed you, and we helped each other and our paths crossed, and that's it.
Yes.
And that's okay. That's okay with life. And I had that boundary I had to set of.
And there's another layer to that too for new moms, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because society has, what you're supposed to be as a mom, or on TV, what you're supposed to be as a mom. Certainly back in my day, right? It was June Cleaver.
Right. Still kind of that same, you still kind of have that same bar of you've got to be June Cleaver, but you've also got to be like the warrior at the same time.
Yeah.
You've got to be the one that's going for the hustle. You've got to do all of these things, but you still have to be like cooking dinner for your family, doing laundry, doing all your household stuff while being this fierce protector, warrior, go forward type of person. And they kind of conflict sometimes.
They really do kind of conflict.
And you get really worn out because some people don't identify with either of them. I don't identify fully with June Cleaver, and I fully don't identify with a warrior. I'm just kind of in between.
I gotta say,
like you get shamed for you didn't like I said, I've got toys in my playroom that are all over the wall and all over the place. I've got dishes in my sink. But my kids are fed and they've eaten, and
lovely.
We're all happy and fine. But in the same breath, there are people out there that could be like, you didn't like clean up after dinner. Like, where's like the protocol, right? You can get that. Or guilty as charged. My son had 4 chocolates from the advent calendars this morning for breakfast.
Good for him.
Well, he gets his and his sister's, so he gets 4. But that was his breakfast, and I'm like, you know what? We at least ate something. We had something.
My mom, when she had my kids over, fed them ice cream for breakfast every time.
Right.
Ice cream and orange sickles. I'm like, dreamsicle. What?
Right. Why? But you can hear in the back of your mind too of like, oh, if somebody saw this, they'd be like, like, you don't have oatmeal, you don't feed your kids cereal. What? No.
I feed my kid, so.
Like he ate something, and he had a can of Sprite. Like, that was his breakfast.
Nice. Breakfast of champions. What he really needed was the Pepsi and the cold pizza.
Right. I mean, we're halfway there.
Halfway. You're halfway to making him a college student. That's awesome. Congratulations.
Why not? Why start now? Why not start now? Get him ready. But that's kind of like the way you can look at it too, as being a mom of, that person. And it's all part of healthy mindset is what you see on Instagram and Facebook is a snapshot.
Totally.
You could have beautiful plate of cookies. In fact, this happened a couple weeks ago to somebody I know, and they conveniently did it right, because I like messaged her and I was like, thank you. But she had a beautiful plate of cookies and like, oh, we made this, blah, blah, blah. And then the next picture was, and this is the mess around the perfect spot that I like wiped my counter down to put this plate. And there were dishes and flour everywhere and all of that. But that's like the real life mess. And
it's like seeing your Christmas, the beautiful tree and the garland down the staircase, and you're like, oh, that looks so beautiful.
It looks super cute.
It is really super pretty.
Thank you. But it's covering up, it's hiding a mess, but it's there.
I like that. Well, that's okay. What you see on this side is dog beds, because my dogs always have to be in here with me. So that's what I got.
Fine. And it's totally great. But like, that's the kind of the thing of like, when you get into Instagram, sometimes your mindset is not in the safest, in the healthiest of spaces, because you're going, well, they went on vacation to here, or they just bought a new house, or they bought a new car, or they bought a new this or that or the other. And now you feel like you're failing as a person or a mom or whatever, that you don't have any of those things. And that just may not be your jam of how to spend your money.
That is, I love, so does your course deal with this?
Mm-hmm.
Right? The mindset of that, because that would have been so helpful for me at one point. My boys are not overly social, so they didn't do like the prom and all of those dances and stuff, right? And it was really hard for me, because all my friends had those pictures and on Facebook, and those were their friends, because I was friends with the friends' moms, right? And all these things, and I was like, oh. And I didn't even realize for a while that it was my mindset. My kids were fine with it. It was me.
You weren't okay with that,
right?
Right. That somehow you had to have everything like the same.
Yeah,
like everybody else.
Do you feel bad you're not going to that? My kids were looking at me like, no, if I'd wanted to go, I would have gone. Right. And
you're like, please just go. Like,
but I don't have pictures.
Right. I don't have that snapshot.
I'm not sharing that experience.
Right. And that's something that like all comes down to like that personal thing of, and at some point, that healthy mindset and being able to detach kind of from that.
Yeah.
And saying, I'm happy that your kids went to prom, and I'm happy my kid just is doing them.
And my kid is happy right where he is, and all the kids are at our house that didn't go to prom, so it's all good.
Yeah,
right? But that expectation, right, that they're going to be on the same path, the same trajectory, they're going to be doing the same things. And if I had that mindset that you help your clients get from the beginning, that would have been such a healthier experience for me. I really had some growing pains with a lot of that, right? Because not all kids are the same.
No, they are not.
I had friends whose kids were absolutely angelic, like, the yes, ma'am, and whatever, right? From the time that they were born, right? And I tried that, and mine were like, no. That's not going to happen. So, I mean, it's just their personalities, right? They're their own identities. They're not all the same. And learning that
exactly,
and having that mindset from the beginning would be so flippin' helpful.
Especially as they get older into that of like, oh, all these kids are doing whatever extracurriculars you have. And even as at the point of, oh, we're at that point where extracurriculars are a thing. And maybe your kid just wants to hang out and just kind of feel good about maybe going to work or not doing a sport or just kind of being. And that's fine. And it's not a bad thing. It's just them doing them.
Right. And that pressure, there is that pressure, because I remember when my kids were little, there were people at the preschool saying, you have to get your kid into baseball. We have to go do this. And I was like, baseball? I'm not ready for that. They're like, 5 and 4. We're not ready for baseball yet. What are you talking about? And we did it. And my kids would sit in the outfield and pick grass.
That was not their sport.
no interest in it. And later they're like, you know, Mom, and maybe if I'd started later, I would have enjoyed it, but it was just an agony to go.
Yeah, and it was like pulling teeth, like you got to go to baseball, and the whole, and you're bribing him at the end, like you can have a smoke cone and a pizza and an ice cream and all the candy that you want or whatever their thing is. You can go buy toy.
Yeah. So I love the idea of moms having those mindsets and those boundaries preset, right? That they know that, and that they know that it's okay. I think it is so brilliant, Mallory. I love that you're doing it. I kind of took you off your subject. Was there anything?
You're totally fine because it like all goes back in the long run. One of the last modules we go through in my course is being able to say yes to yourself without feeling guilty, which is fear gives you the guilt of saying, see, you made this decision and now you're going to feel anxious and you're going to feel maybe get depressed over it, or maybe be like start to detach from other things or all these things about it and make you feel like, oh, now I'm a terrible mom that I've made this decision, or I'm a terrible daughter because I chose this path, not this path, or whatever it is. I'm not living up to somebody. You're not living up to somebody's expectation.
Yeah.
Whether said or unsaid expectation, whatever that is. But you have the courage and the confidence built that you can say, this is good for me and for whatever stewardship you have over, whether it's a family, whether it's you, whether it's like maybe you're taking care of somebody, whatever that is, your stewardship that you're over, that you can say yes and feel confident in that decision, listening to yourself and moving forward without having that, oh, somebody's like, I'm letting somebody down.
Yeah.
So it goes back to fear can speak and say, you're going to let so-and-so down. That's fine. But that's not the vote. That's not the deciding vote. You got to listen to the other voices that say, go for it. This is going to be a little bit frustrating, but you're still going to make it. You're going to learn something. It's a great thing for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's totally fine. You got to listen to those empowering voices rather than let's just stay here because it feels safe. When to you, it kind of feels like you're pushing the dough in the cookie cutter. Rather than rolling out the dough and putting the cookie cutter in it.
Oh, that's a really good good visual. I really like that visual a lot.
That's kind of like what fear is wanting you to do is shoving you in this cookie cutter that you don't fit because you've either outgrown it or it's not the shape that you need. It's trying to keep you in that space that's not for you. So letting it say, let's stay in this space, and you say, we're moving forward. Is not giving you that vote.
I love that. I love fear may have a voice in your head, but it doesn't have a vote in how you don't let it control.
Yep.
Right.
They will show up for everything. It does. All emotions come for every decision, whether it's big. I mean, it's probably not going to come if you're going to choose Chick-fil-A or McDonald's for dinner, but you'll have that for like bigger decisions of maybe how to proceed with your life. You're going to have those big decisions, and it's where it's going to speak the loudest. And you've just got to say, these are my boundaries. This is where I'm healthy here. And I'm not being shoved into this cookie cutter. I'm going to be a new shape. And that's okay.
You know, I love that. And I love that. I love, but even the small ones, right? Even the small ones, like, does my kid eat chocolate, or, you know, are we going to fight over the oatmeal and have oatmeal end up on the ceiling, right? What are we going to do to get calories in my kid? And even having that not be a big deal, right? Not having that have fear, have you all wigged out, because that's just not worth it.
No, it's not. And it's not worth the fight. Like, I tell people in a real but joking manner that my expectation for the end of every day is that we're not dead. And however we've made it throughout that day, yes, we've had our ups. Yes, we had our downs. We've had tantrums. We've had really excellent moments. We've had no naps. We've had naps. Whatever that looks like in my day-to-day life, it varies depending on a 2-year-old set.
Absolutely.
But anything short of dead, we've made a great day.
It was a fabulous day, and we'll have another one tomorrow.
Right? And it's gonna be different tomorrow, and it could be better, but it could be worse, but it could be the same, and that's fine.
I love that.
But that is like my bar of, so I don't get overwhelmed with, oh well, you didn't have oatmeal for breakfast, and that's what you needed. That's what I wanted you to have, but instead I had it all over the house. But you had chocolate and a Sprite and you're happier, and I didn't have to fight it because you willingly ate it. So like, that's a win.
I love those. Those small things, right? Not to get too caught up in fear. Mallory, you and I could talk for hours, days, really whatever. We just could about everything and anything. Mm-hmm. It's so much fun. So for sure we'll have you back, because by now you've done this. Now
I've done it. So it's really good.
Zone. You know that it's fun, right?
And it's really not, the worst that could happen was nothing.
Right. So thank you so much for being here and talking to us about as a voice, but not a vote. Again, my guest is the most brilliant Mallory McGary, and she has Beautifully Blooming. You can reach her at www.beautifullyblooming.com. I am Martha Davis Alexander, and you can reach me at, I am really up close and personal. That was fun. Anyway, I am a recovering attorney. I am a certified fearless living coach. And you can reach me at marthadalexander@gmail.com. Love getting your comments via email. It's so much fun. You can reach me also at throughthelookingglasswithmartha.com, or you can call me or text me at 805-422-6865. As always, it has been a pleasure to have you join us tonight, and we look forward to seeing you next week at 6 p.m. on Thursday evening, that's Pacific time, or it's 9 p.m. on Eastern time, or it would be 7 p.m. Mountain time, or 8 p.m. Central time. So y'all have a phenomenal night. Thanks for joining us. Bye-bye.
Bye.